Welcome to the day 2 of our DR Healing and Recovery Plan. As some of you have pointed out, there has been a change in the course of action. Because initially, what I had thought is that I would be shooting the intro video within the 5 days and releasing it back to back. But the kind of responses I have got from you, the kind of questions you have asked, the kind of inputs you have given has really provided me fresh perspective on this. So there has been a little change of plans. Instead of me putting out the videos back to back, I'm taking a gap of a day so that I can get your inputs. And based on the inputs that I'm getting from you, I'm making changes to the way I'm putting across these videos, the way I represent the videos, the way I explain them, and also the kind of analogies that I'm bringing into picture. So I really appreciate your patience on this. So for the day 2, the topics which we are going to cover are what are the symptoms and signs of having DR and what are the implications of having DR. But before we jump on to this topic, let's quickly go through the main points that we covered on the day 1. We now know that DR is not only related to our tummy. It is actually a whole body and lifestyle issue. And a life of habits can actually cause DR or prevent it from healing. So DR, in a nutshell, is nothing but stretch of the connective fibrous tissue of our abdomen in the wrong direction for too long or too frequently. And when it comes to preventing or healing DR, we need to be very mindful of our day-to-day activities. We need to be mindful of how much time we spend without moving, how we sit, stand or get up, because posture and alignment really impacts DR. Similarly, how we move is also very important when it comes to DR. And the other things we need to be mindful of are how we lift heavy objects. Our body dynamics and the transfer of forces and our core engagements are very crucial in this. Similarly, how we breathe can impact DR. The kind of clothes we wear can impact DR too, because really tight clothes can contract the abdominal cavity and increase the intra-abdominal pressure. And lastly, we need to be careful of the kind of exercises we perform. The correct biomechanics and the proper core engagement is very essential to heal and recover from DR. So what are the symptoms of DR? Now at the surface of it, these are the most common symptoms of DR. For example, us having a mommy pooch or a mountain forming as you do a mini crunch. That is, when you're doing a crunch, you'll observe a cone coming out of your abdomen. Or you could also feel there's a lack of control over your abdominal muscles, especially when you sit, move or lift heavy objects. So as we had discussed on the day 1, superficially or aesthetically, DR might look something like this or this or this. So this is something which we had discussed on the day 1, but I would still like to bring it to your notice. Remember, DR is actually just a symptom. It's just the tip of the iceberg. There are many causes that might have led to DR. Causes which would have really led to DR would be increased intra-abdominal pressure and not knowing how to manage it, incorrect posture, misalignment of the rib cage and the pelvis, and tight or weak core muscles. Now we need to understand that just the way DR is a symptom and there are various causes, when we look at the causes, those can lead to other issues. Now here is where things get interesting. Each one of us are extremely unique and we do not know which of the underlying causes might have aggravated the DR or might be preventing it from healing. And just as DR is just the symptom and we have many causes that might lead to DR, the implications of having DR will also vary because each of these causes have their own implications. So it's not necessary that the implications which I'm going to discuss now might be relevant to you. It could be that you do not have any of those signs or symptoms, or you would be able to relate to one of the symptoms and that could actually help you trace back to your actual cause. So let's look at the subtle implications that might be associated with us having DR. Now back pain is one of the most common symptoms associated with DR. Let's look at how the two are related. We know that a proper alignment of our rib cage and our pelvis is very important to maintain the intra-abdominal pressure. Now, depending on how this alignment changes, there will be a lot of load or a lot of pressure on the corresponding area of a vertebral column, and that can lead to back pain. Interestingly, there's one more perspective. Now, all the muscles in our body are interrelated to each other. That means whenever we do any kind of activity, be it walk, move around, turn, lift things, push things, or any of that sort, all the muscles work in coordination with each other. This area, our abdominal area, plays a very crucial role. Almost all of these lines, that is from top to bottom or bottom to top, fall across this area. Now imagine this band being very tight, taut and having equal strength. So what would happen is the forces would be able to travel across very easily. Now imagine this band being very lax and loose. So the forces would stop at this junction and would not be able to cross over. There was a study that was done, and according to that study, there is a direct correlation to the point at which this connective tissue is the weakest and the corresponding back. So when it comes to our DR, it would imply that the area where we actually have the loosened connective tissue, that area is now directly related to our back pain. For example, if your abdominal connective tissue is weakest in this part, you would be more prone to having back pain in this area. And if your connective tissues are weakest in this area, you would be more prone to having back pain in this area. And so on and so forth. Isn't it an interesting perspective? Now, let's look at what is common between DR and the digestive issues such as constipation and bloating. Now remember, our abdominal cavity is not actually hollow, but it is jam-packed with a lot of organs and tissues. And the major space is actually occupied by our digestive system. Now we know that too much of intra-abdominal pressure, that is pressure inside this cavity, can cause DR. So imagine what would happen to these organs and soft tissues if too much of pressure is applied to them. Now this pressure can either be applied from the top or from the front. Either ways, the functioning of these tissues and this system will get compromised. That would mean there's some goof up that would happen in the digestive process, and that can actually lead to inflammation, bloating and even constipation. Now let's explore the connection between hernia and DR. Now we know that our fibrous connective tissues also work hard to keep everything inside the abdomen cavity in check. And what would happen if there is a break in that connective tissue? The abdominal cavity's contents might get pushed outwards. And that is what happens when we have hernia. Now as you can see here, a part of our intestine has been pushed out of our abdominal cavity and can be visible from outside. Now depending on where this happens, on our abdomen, we have different type of hernias. Now let's explore how urinary incontinence or stress incontinence, or us leaking out urine when we cough or apply too much of pressure on our abdomen, is related to DR. Now remember how we had discussed in the previous post that the body is actually made up of many cavities, and three major cavities in our abdominal area are the thoracic cavity, the abdominal cavity and the pelvic cavity. So if you look at the front view, all of these three cavities can actually impact each other. And as we had discussed, one of the causes which leads to DR is the increased pressure in the intra-abdominal area. And if the pressure in this area increases, it would put too much of pressure on this part too. And that is where our urinary bladder is located. So in order to manage urinary incontinence, it's very important that we learn how to manage the intra-abdominal pressure and also take care of our pelvic floor muscles, which provide a support to our urinary bladder. And when we're talking about our pelvic floor muscles, it's important to bring the prolapsed uterus into picture. So let's discuss the connection between DR and having a prolapsed uterus. Now to maintain the intra-abdominal pressure, remember we have four walls. The top wall is the diaphragm, the side wall is our muscles in the abdominal cavity, the back wall is the muscles in our spine, and the bottom is actually the pelvic floor muscle. Now the health and the movement of this muscle is very important to maintain the correct intra-abdominal pressure. And if anything goes wrong here, with DR, there's a possibility of things goofing up in this area too. As you can see here, the pelvic floor muscle actually supports a lot of organs, including our bladder, the uterus and the bowel system. So this muscle is like a hammock. It's a tight system that supports all of them. And if this loosens or this loses its strength and is not able to move efficiently, there's a possibility that a uterus might slide down. and that is known as prolapsed uterus. Now let's explore a very unique connection between anxiety, exhaustion, weakness, lack of focus and our DR. Now coming back to this picture, let's now focus on the top. That is the diaphragm being a key player in maintaining the intra-abdominal pressure. And now let's look at the connection between the movement of our diaphragm and a nervous system. Now as you can see here, there's a typical breathing pattern that activates the parasympathetic nervous system. That is, when we breathe in, our diaphragm is pushed down, the abdominal walls are pushed out slightly and the pelvic floor muscles relax a bit. And when we exhale, the opposite happens. The pelvic floor muscles contract, abdomens are pushed in and the diaphragm moves up. Now usually this is what happens when we are rested and relaxed. But in case a sympathetic nervous system is activated, the movement and the core breath work happens in this area. So it's only the thoracic area that gets activated when we breathe in. So imagine what would happen if we actually breathe through a thoracic cavity only without involving our belly over a long period of time. That would mean that we would be stuck in a sympathetic mode. That would mean that we are continuously running on our accelerator without using the brake, which is the parasympathetic nervous system. And if this system is overactivated, it would lead to anxiety, exhaustion, weakness and lack of focus. Proper coordination and movement of our diaphragm, of our pelvic floor muscle and our abdominal muscles are very important for us to maintain a balanced state of mind. Similarly, the movement is also important to maintain the correct intra-abdominal pressure. If this pressure is not maintained, it can lead to DR. And similarly, if something goes wrong, especially with the movement of our diaphragm, we can be prone to stress and anxiety. So today we walked through the symptoms and signs and also what are the implications of us having DR. Please remember that if you have DR, it does not mean that you would be experiencing all these implications. But what I wanted to bring to your notice is that DR and these implications have something in common. Be it our incorrect breathing pattern or our posture or the way we handle our intra-abdominal pressure or the weakness of the muscles, and all of these can lead to DR. And if the DR is present, remember, it's just the tip of the iceberg. There are a lot of other underlying implications. So I would really encourage you to sit back, relax and take a look at the bigger picture. It's possible that you might be experiencing some of these implications and you would be able to know what the root cause is. Or it could also be possible that you would be experiencing both the DR and these implications. So no matter where you stand, it's a good idea to know the root cause of whatever is bothering you. And that would give you a better idea of how to take things further. I hope you find this post useful. Please do reach out to me and let me know your inputs, because based on the feedback you provide, the questions you ask and the inputs you give, I will be able to make the modifications to our programs going further. As usual, please do share it with your loved ones and invite them into our world of wellness. I'll be seeing you soon with the next topic. Till then, take care and keep thriving.